The ROI of Solupay, how Solupay helps offset the costs for new NetSuite sales. So before I dive into that cost aspect, how we can save customers money when processing with Solupay within NetSuite, just to give you guys a very high-level overview of everything that we bring to the NetSuite ecosystem, as we really do a lot more than just credit card processing. We are a true built-for NetSuite solution. So we are not just a credit card processor. We bring a ton of additional features and functions into that ecosystem when using our processing services that all focus on really trying to reduce some of the manual processes that come along with accepting payments with NetSuite, reducing overall processing costs, of course, and eliminating fraud as much as possible if that business is seeing fraudulent transactions, fraudulent chargebacks there. So because of everything that we bring to the NetSuite ecosystem, Solupay was actually awarded NetSuite's 2017 Innovator of the Year award. This was a huge deal for us, as at that time, we were a very new partner to NetSuite. We had only been a partner with them for about 2 years at that point, whereas a lot of other payments partners have been partners with NetSuite for 20 plus years. We are actually the only payment processing partner to ever receive any recognition along these lines. So I think this really speaks to the quality of our integration and what we bring to the table for our customers, as we have solutions for really all different types of businesses, whether they be e-commerce, whether they be more so a wholesale distributor entering transactions with an ERP, or a retail-based business. As I mentioned before, we focus on these main areas with our integration to kind of make it that 360 product for our customers. Again, eliminating fraud, reducing those manual processes, and through that, helping them overall drive their sales. But today, what we're going to focus on, again, is lowering their costs through interchange optimization. How do we save them money? So when calculating these costs, we try to be as transparent with our customers as possible, showing them the true down to the penny costs through a cost analysis. If you guys are not familiar, there's more than just fees that come from your credit card processor. With all credit card processing scenarios, there's always fees that come from your processor, the issuing banks, and the card brands as well. So you're always dealing with those three parties when it comes to credit card processing costs. How do we help offset some of these costs if they're not all just coming from us? We, again, do this through interchange optimization. So to give you guys, again, a high-level overview of what interchange is for those of you who are not familiar, interchange is what makes up 90% of a business's overall processing costs. Now, I think a very big misconception with a lot of businesses is them thinking that since they're paying credit card processing fees and they have a credit card processor, all those fees are going back to their processor. That, again, is not the case. We have those three parties involved, and that 90%, which again is interchange, that actually all goes back to the issuing banks. These are the issuing banks' fees, the biggest majority of what they are paying in credit card processing costs. To dive a little deeper into a visual of what interchange really looks like, let's picture interchange as an umbrella. At the top of the umbrella, let's put the card brands, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover. And underneath the umbrella, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little mini card types. So there are hundreds of Visa cards, hundreds of MasterCard cards, so on and so forth. Each of those little mini card types has their own rate tied to it. There are actually 1,400 card types that exist. So that means there are 1,400 different rates that exist. And that is what interchange is. Those 1,400 rates out there, those rates are not dictated by the processor. They are dictated by the issuing banks. As a processor, we have to pass through those costs on their behalf from what they set those rates at. So how do we save them money? How do we reduce those rates if we do not dictate what they are? The issuing banks were nice enough to say, okay, as a processor, if you send us extra data through with each transaction, we are going to give your customers a break. We're going to reduce some of those interchange fees because we're the issuing banks and we're nosy. We like to know what's going on. This is exactly what our bundle is set up to do. We send something through called level 2 and level 3 data. so that when the data is sent through back to the issuing banks, our customers can reap those benefits of those rate reductions. We pass those rate reductions through onto our customers. So this additional line item detail, I always like to make this very, very clear, because sometimes when I say extra data, additional line item detail, I'm sending that back through the issuing banks. Everyone's eyes like to glaze over as they might think, I don't want to have to enter additional data with each transaction. I don't want to have to bombard my customers for additional data. This is not the case. This is something, again, pre-built into the back end of our integration. So just when processing normal credit card transactions inside of NetSuite, our customers have the ability to qualify for these rate reductions. And this is something we can reflect on the analysis that I was talking about earlier. As transparent as we want to be, we can put together a very, very detailed apples to apples cost analysis to show them what their fees would look like if they started processing with Solupay with our rate reductions. So let me show you an example of what this looks like here. So what I have pulled up here is a recent analysis that I had actually done for one of my current customers. I just took their name off here. So this is a live example of what type of a cost analysis that we can do for businesses. Now, what we had requested was a recent merchant statement from this business's current credit card processor. Anytime we're getting pricing together, it is so beneficial for us to have a merchant statement so that we can do this analysis, because this is what's going to give us the detail that we need to get super in depth on what the cost is going to look like. So you can see here, there's a bunch of line items. This is interchange. They're out of those 1,400 categories. These are the exact categories that this business had accepted within this given month. And we can make this read like a book to the customer, so they can hold that merchant statement that they had sent over to us up against my analysis, and they can see line item by line item what their rate reductions is, what that savings looks like, with that level 3 data reflected on each category that would qualify better. And then down here, we have really everything else that's going to be involved. So again, the card brand fees and any Solupay fees that are applied. I mean, you can see here, there's a 6-cent line item. We know it's only 6 cents, but at the end of the day, it's going to affect this business's bottom line. So this is a true all-in out-the-door cost analysis that they had processed this given month with us rather than their current processor. This is what their total fees would look like with everything applied, the level 3 data and level 2 data, the issuing bank's fees, card brand fees, and all Solupay fees, versus what they're currently paying their current processor, a monthly savings based off of this, and then an annual savings based off of, if this is an average month, really what their annual savings will look like. So when we can show them, you guys are going to save $12,000 if you start processing with Solupay inside of NetSuite, this just made NetSuite so much more affordable for that business. So this is how we can really help you guys close deals here, by being very transparent, offering this cost analysis. Now, we all know that functionality is very important. We want to make their lives as easy as possible. But when we can save them money while doing that, that is what's going to help you guys close deals. This is what our bundle heavily focuses on, not just the functionality, but when we can, again, reduce what they're paying in those fees, that 90% of what makes up their total cost. This is why we are such a cost-effective option within NetSuite.